part of my job is about doing what I didn't want to do. Right? That's the realities of it. Okay? If you don't like it, don't get in the workplace. I'll say it that simply. You just can't have a job where you get to do everything you want to do all the time. What I'm having to do now is really look back at something that I don't want to do. I've said I've done, I don't want to keep doing this, but I think society and the situation is I need to. It's the responsible thing to do. So let's go back and look at some more COVID reporting. All right, everyone, welcome along. Summit for the weekend. Back with COVID. Before we go any further and we really get into this subject, why don't you take a moment, if you haven't already, go down there, click like and subscribe and help support the channel. Let YouTube know just how much you enjoy it by putting a comment on, and let me know just how much you hate this stuff if you want by putting a comment on. If you didn't tell us, I can't know and I can't make the content better. So, I don't know what's happening in your part of the world, but I can tell you, in England, we're really struggling with the COVID. So a lot of people are saying, oh, it's past, it's on social media now, it's past, right? And that's not true, okay? It's kind of really far from the truth true. Now, I'm no medical professional. I don't know if that comes across from the way I do these videos. Right? Some might say I'm probably not very professional, full stop, but you know, I've got a YouTube channel, they might not. What I wanted to say though was this is something that's here. It's not going to go away, and that's potentially an ever. It might be here for certainly the long haul now. When we were doing the initial projections of COVID and at the duration that we were expecting this to have disruptions for, it was 3 years is what we came back with. That was the number that we kept coming back to, 3 years. We're kind of just over 18 months into it, so we're about halfway through. Now, we've got through the vast majority of the worst times possibly for us, touch wood, right? In that we've developed a vaccine, we've got that out to lots of people, but we're now having to deal with the tail, which is almost the most difficult part. All right, so here we are, right? COVID data. I was getting a bit ranty, wasn't I? Right? Oh, touched a nerve clearly. Ooh, right. We need to be responsible, don't we? So let's have a look at this. Now, one of the things I like about this site, and it is a good site, is there's lots of information here. Okay, what we can do though, or what's lacking here really, is around the age distributions. And I know, right, looking at it, it's younger people being adversely affected at the minute. And the problem with this is, the real issue is, I've heard COVID described by proper medical professionals, not me, like proper medical professionals. It's a lung killer, right? That's not something that they're taking mildly, right? That's serious. The long-term impact of things like long COVID just are not known at the moment. The prevalence of long COVID just is not known at the moment. And it's one thing, somebody like my age, you know, gets it and gets long COVID and they get told, well, you're going to struggle to work for the rest of your life. That's bad. Right? I've still got a fair few years yet again. Right? If that happens to an 18-year-old, right? That's terrible. Okay? This is the state of affairs that we're at, though. So, seriously, get out, get a vaccine. What I want to do is I want to build some proper reports, so using this stuff. So if we have a look at download data, you can see what we can look at. So I'm going to look at this thing. It's called lower tier local authorities, which is, it's basically there's about 300 of them across England. So you can see it's quite a small area. So you'll get a good feel for what we're looking at. Okay, and we're going to look at things that we can look at by age. Okay, and you can see we've got the new case rates and we've got the vaccination rates, which I think are two really important things. Okay, I'll also bring in positivity, I think, just for the sake of argument. All right, so here we are. Okay, in the Power BI service, create a workspace, COVID, and I've created a DataFlow. Right? Not much to it. Right? What I've done, I've brought in positivity, brought in the case rates by age. You can see age in there. Brought in the vaccination rates. I've got the age range, which we're going to finish working that together. And that's going to end up being a nice disconnected table to allow us to have, this is what's happening. Yeah, because that's what we want, isn't it? We want that disconnected table that's going to allow us to look at age ranges and be able to say, right, I want to put this age range against this age range or something like that. I think probably either that or do we do like an under or over? Yeah, let us know down below. But we'll write all those measures up, but it all comes down to having that separate dimension or a disconnected table structure. And we've got a calendar and locations. But let's talk about that later, shall we? Yeah? That's kind of the point of today's video. So if we go over into Power BI desktop, where we pull these data flows into, we have a look at how it all fits together and what's going on. So here we are in Power BI desktop. And what we can see here is I've set this up showing me positivity over a 7-day period. Right? It says the last 2 weeks because it's always a week out. There's a week gap between positivity rates before they're reported. So the last 2 weeks is a week of positive, so like rolling 7 days, basically, yeah? So we can hover over and it tells us how any particular area is doing. We can zoom in and we can then see, yeah, great, perfect. What more do I want? Let's copy that. So we can select it, select that, copy it, and let's paste it. So I want to have this now with vaccines. So if I look at this, I can zoom in and we can say, look, the cumulative people vaccinated completely by vaccination date. Okay, cumulative numbers, brilliant. Okay, so let's just drop that on there. So the thing there, cumulative people vaccinated. Oh, right. Doesn't look right. What's happening? Oh, because it's more frequent, right? It's better. This, I'm going to change this to be like a drop down or yeah, drop down. If that makes sense. Wait a minute. Pick the 8th. Well, that'll do, won't it? Pick the 8th. That's not changed, has it? And everything's the same. And that's far too high. There's not that many people. So what's the problem? And obviously, it's easy. It's obvious what the problem is. It's 2 things that's the problem. Firstly, the date that's here, this date, corresponds to positivity. It's not linked to my vaccination rates. So I need to bring my date from my vaccination rates in. And let's get rid of the first one. Okay, so now we get all of them. So we'd be in a better place to do it. So if we pick a list, we'll scroll right to the bottom of the list, say I want this value. Okay, and then I can say, oh, that's not worked either. And that's not worked because I need to use the area name from here, my locations, not the one. And suddenly it all makes sense. Okay, now, see, what you've just seen is the most basic reason why we need to use dimensions, right? Because dimensions allow us to have a single set of dates for a calendar table and a single set of locations for the location charts. So what it means is that the 2 charts and tables that we want to use and report against or aggregate are fact tables, because remember, fact tables are aggregated, are able to be linked by their common dimensions. And because time or dates, in particular dates, right? We say time, but we mean dates, we don't most of the time. Most of the time we mean dates. Right? Dates are one of the most common things that are used in analysis, which is why we say, get yourself a calendar table, get comfortable with it, and use it, use it, use it, because you will need one for almost everything. How many times are you going to do this? We'll say, oh, what's the month to date figures for this? Oh, what's the year-to-date figures for that, because we could do that with this, couldn't we? So if we looked at the vaccination data, if we scroll over here, we have a look, new people vaccinated, first dose, second dose, okay? Now, that's brilliant, because what that means, what that's talking about, is around where we're saying we want to have that daily total. So if I'm saying how many people were vaccinated in the last 28 days, I would put a rolling 28-day calculation on that to count 28 days. If I want month to date, we would say, well, first month it was this, second month, third, fourth, fifth, yeah, and you'd see it going up. Yeah, you'd see it going up. And that way, everything works. And you're like, oh, brilliant, we know what we're doing. It's brilliant. Okay. So your calendar table becomes a central part of your analysis. And that's why we've got, as part of our data core, DataFlow, calendar, because we will use it time and time and time again. And it makes sense to have it available to be used time and time and time again. Do it once and you can just keep using it. So we've covered, haven't we, why I need to use a calendar table. So let's change everything around so that the dates are there, right? And I'll build a location table and we'll show you the difference. All right, so here we are, huh? The magic of television, isn't it? What we need to do now, right, we've built a geography dimension and we've joined that all up. So all I need to do is take the dates and drag them to dates. Okay, and we're going to form these relationships and get this going. So date to dates. Date to dates. So all of a sudden, now, right, when we're going back out of here, right, we've got cumulative people by location, right? And now, because of the way it's been built, what I can do is I can say, well, I want to look at positivity. So I can bring in positivity instead. And that's going to change. Remember, this is a rolling scale. So we're getting there, okay? We're starting to get that piece, okay? So what I've done here is we've put, well, what's the vaccination percentage looking like? And we can see, oh, that's not so bad. We're looking through, right? Let's have a look at this though, okay? Because this gets this is where it starts to get a little bit scary. And now you'll see why I'm saying, well, let's actually do this. Let's bring in 18 to 24. Oh, hang on. That's really dropping down. Northumberland, 31%. It's for us an average over 2 weeks. Yeah, I'd like it to be a little bit higher. You know, this is the issue. This is where we need to be clear that we need to be getting people vaccinated. 25, 29 is looking a little bit better, okay? But if I went and said, well, let's look at the 65, 69, do you see? So we can see, can't we, that there's a clear trend upwards as the percentages go as people are getting older. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of scary. So what do you reckon then? It is grim reading. Right? It really is. Please, have a look at the data. Go down below. Right, the report is finished. Right, have a look at it. Make your own mind up. Okay, go do some proper research if you don't believe. Right, do some proper research. Have a look, and then think. Well, there's more than just me. Because that's the other thing. It's not just about you. It's about, as a society as a whole, what's the best thing for us to do? There are people out there who genuinely cannot have the vaccine. There are people out there who genuinely will die if they get COVID, right? And I personally wouldn't want that on my hands, okay? I get everyone is different and I appreciate that. My view is if you want to do different, that's fine. But please take the time, read, and make it an informed decision rather than just, well, Tony down the pub says, okay? Because that's no good for this. So on that note, I hope you'll come back and join us on Tuesday, okay? Please have a good weekend. Hey, take care of yourselves and think about really what it's going to take to keep us back in a safe environment and moving forward as a society. Cheers. Ta-da.